Namaste, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's stream. We're having a very important topic today again. We're really talking about depression and suicidal thoughts. So, unfortunately, this has become more and more common over the recent years, even the last few decades already, but especially the last year and a half, because of what has been happening uh, worldwide. So I hope you can hear me better now here with the um, mics closer, and hope you're doing well as possible in this world. So we're going to be looking today at not so much all the causes and problems, because much of that has already been documented. We will look at it a little bit, of course, from a spiritual angle using ancient wisdom. But what we want to focus on are some tips and some routines, how we can actually both prevent depression and suicidal thoughts, and also help those or help ourselves if we've been drifting in that direction for some time and we're not doing so well. So this is actually so important, because more and more people are struggling right now, even the young generation, especially the young generation. So before we get started, please leave your comments and subscribe to our channels here so we can easily stay in touch. You can share this, please, with your friends and family. It's really, really important that we get this message out there, that, more and more people actually have this ancient wisdom so they can make better choices that actually will benefit them, that creates a better future, and that will help those around them at the same time. So we have all been having busy days, and so now let us have a few moments of relaxation, introspection. We can calm down our minds, we can relax our bodies, and we will be using deep breathing for that, and we will also add the Gauranga mantra for that. So for great spiritual potency. So you can be in a comfortable position, please, whatever works for you. You can close your eyes if you like, just try not to fall asleep. And now observe your breath. You may notice that the breathing is shallow most of the day, but it's not uncommon. But now we want to breathe more deeply into our abdomen. So as you inhale, the abdomen expands. Then you hold the breath, and as you exhale through the mouth or the nose, the abdomen contracts again. So we'll do this 4 more times. Inhale. Gently breathe out like you're breathing, like you're blowing your birthday candle from the birthday cake. And now we will add the mantra Gova Anga to our deep breathing. When you inhale, you can silently say Gauranga to your mind. Then you hold for a few seconds. And then we will exhale through the mouth and say Gauranga out loud. So just follow me, please. Inhale. Gauranga. Two more. Go. Okay, now the light is better. Thank you very much. And let's have a few moments of silence here before we continue with our music mantra meditation. So we will still be using the mantra Gora Anga. This mantra Gauranga is not an ordinary sound. It comes from the spiritual realm and thus has great spiritual potencies. Anyone and everyone can use this mantra. A bona fide mantra always comes from the spiritual realm and it is free of charge. It's a gift, like a gift of love, actually. The mantra cannot be sold. And therefore the mantra can be used by anyone and everyone. So now I will be playing a melody on this instrument here, which is called a harmonium. And you can listen and sing along if you like. So the spiritual sound, this hearing and singing of these transcendental mantras, it's not a musical performance, but rather it is a journey of self-discovery, who we really are. So now let's use this nice spiritual sound, this nice purifying energy, now this healing energy really, to try to be peaceful, to be in an introspective mode, so we can be more in tune with reality and who we really are. So we should all feel now that our mind is more calm, our body is more relaxed. So this is actually very helpful to do any time of the day, especially when we're feeling stressed out or we might have to make some big decision. It's really good to not act impulsively, that we actually always consider carefully the consequences, the results of the choices that we take. This actually will go a long ways for us to have better relationships, to be more balanced, more calm, and to not be easily depressed or in anxiety. So it can be said that when a person, by the way, what we're sharing here is ancient wisdom that our teacher has so kindly given to us. This is actually true throughout time and space for all living beings, for all eternity, because it applies to you and me and to all living beings. It is not dependent on the age of the body or where the body was born or any other material temporary consideration. So first, let us look at the causes of depression and suicidal thoughts here. So we know that the problems in this temporary material world are very real and they can seem to be overwhelming at times. And so when a person basically is experiencing that nothing is working out for them, they're feeling hopeless, yeah, and they are not having much expectation that things can improve. They basically have nothing to look forward to. Yeah, nothing is giving them joy, nothing is motivating them, nothing is getting them out of bed in the morning, and they're not looking forward to it. It's just another day. What am I going to do today? No motivation to do anything, basically. Yeah. And so, in that condition, a person can actually go into very dark space. And so, this is a very serious condition, and it may require some professional help. But we can also, through the practice of mindfulness and mantra meditation, greatly help our condition, whether it is on the preventative side, that we're just maintaining our mental health, our well-being, or maybe we have been suffering from some trauma or some difficulty and we need to go through some healing. Then this mindfulness and mantra meditation can also be of great assistance, because like we have said, these spiritual mantras, this great ancient wisdom, it will actually help to set us on the right course. It will actually purify our existence. So that really what it comes down to is that we are able to respond and deal with the challenges, the difficulties, the problems in this material world in a way that they don't overpower us. Yeah? That we have a strong foundation, that we have the tools, the wisdom to respond in a mindful way, in a constructive way, in a way that is actually as helpful as possible. So when a person is able to respond with wisdom, yeah, they can handle in the right way whatever problems might come up. Then the person, it is said, they will come out on the other side without any lasting scars. Yeah. So sometimes the tunnel may look very dark, but we should not focus on the darkness, not dwell on it, not be overwhelmed by it, but rather we need to be solution oriented. We need to have some solution, some wisdom, yeah? So that when there are difficult times, we can make it through it more easily, more quickly, and like we said, there is no lasting scars, no lasting damage. Yeah. So today we want to focus on the types of positive steps that a person can actually take to stay mentally sane and to recover from mental challenges. And so we're going to be looking at this also from the perspective of a leader, like a parent, teacher, anybody who's trying to help others. Because as we know, if we're trying to help others, we want to be able to help others, we have to be practicing this ourselves. So we have to actually walk the talk. And so this will automatically take care of whatever challenges we might personally have, because we have to really be practicing this, experiencing the benefits in order for us to really be able to share it with others. So how can a leader be of help in beating the blues, depression, and suicidal thoughts? So a leader needs to know his role in this world. Yes, so we need to know who we are and what is the purpose of our human journey. Yeah, many times people, they think that I am this body, I just temporarily exist, and the purpose of me being here in this material world is to try to enjoy um, myself as much as possible, as quickly as possible, through my body, my mind, and then when it's over, and there's no consequences for the way we were living, right? So this is why some people can actually um, act in very cruel and horrendous ways, treat others very harmfully, and not have any remorse or bad feeling or worry about the future at all. Yes, so this is a case of misidentifying oneself, you know, because we are actually not these temporary bodies. This has been scientifically proven. Nobody has ever been able to locate the self in the body, because we are of a different energy, spiritual energy, which we don't have the eyes to see, but we can see the effect of the soul in the body, just like we can see the effect an atom has, even though the atom is so small and we cannot see it, right? So by the effect that the soul, the presence of the soul has on this material body, we know that there is a life force in the body. But when the spiritual living being, you or I, leaves this temporary material body, what is that called? This is called death. But really just the material body now reveals its true nature. All the material elements are still there. Yeah, nothing has really changed from a material perspective here. The organs are all there, the brain is there, the blood is there. Everything is there that should be enough for the body to still function. But it's actually the presence of the soul, the spiritual being, that makes everything work. Yeah, so that we actually that there's consciousness, there's an experience in the body, and we can hear that sometimes. You know, when you look into a person's eyes, you can it's like the window to the soul. Yes, like so we know there is someone in there. Yeah, who is responding. Yeah, but then when the body is dead, there's nobody there anymore. Yeah, so the person has left. This is why we don't like to keep dead bodies around, even though it looks kind of similar to it was before, and we were relating to the person in that body, and we've become attached to the body. Still, we are not comfortable. Usually, that is almost everybody, you know, being around this dead and decaying body because the person has left. And so we need to know that we're just on a human journey. We are having a human body right now, which is actually a very, very good vehicle, because we can inquire who we are, why there is so much suffering in this world, what is the purpose of my existence. And if I am actually indeed existing eternally, then I should be having a much bigger, broader focus here. I shouldn't be just interested in temporary passing sense flashes, but rather I need to carefully plan for a good future. So what does that mean? Well, the first thing is that we need to consider that this world here is not really our home. Yes, so this material dimension is also temporary, and so are these material bodies. Yeah, all material energy is temporary. It will break down over time. But the eternal spirit soul is said to exist eternally. It cannot be cut into pieces. It cannot be destroyed. So even when something bad happens to the material body that is currently hosting the living being, um, we we might be very sad, and yes, we understand, you know, but at the same time we should know that the spiritual, the living being is unharmed also at the time of death of the body. The living being just moves on, just like going to another section of the whole vast creation. So although there is a lot of suffering in this world, yeah, I think everybody can agree with this. We only need to look at the news or maybe travel to some uh, poor place. And even mental suffering, as we said, even those who are materially wealthy often suffer greatly on a mental level. Yes, so a leader who has wisdom, they will not be overwhelmed by all this suffering, but rather a leader will be focused on the solution, and they will be looking at what can I do to actually um, help others. What can I do to relieve their their suffering? Yeah, this is actually really, really important, and this gives us a great purpose in our existence. Yeah, because the person is only thinking about themselves all the time, and they're trying to enjoy themselves, but then things are not working out so well. And if they think this is the only purpose why they exist, and now they're suffering, yeah, all their so-called happiness is turned into distress. Instead of pleasure, they're having pain, and it's like, oh, let me just end everything. Yeah, so it's actually kind of a self-centered way of seeing everything. But rather, it's much better when we're looking for ways how we can be of assistance to others, that we can actually be helping people in a real way. Yeah, so we can be uplifting others, encouraging, enlightening. A leader will know that band-aid approaches are only a very temporary benefit. Yeah, they are often necessary. There's nothing wrong with it, but that shouldn't be the only thing that we do. That we just go from one band-aid to the next, but we are not addressing the cause of the problem. Yeah, so we should be looking to have permanent improvements. Yeah, this is actually really, really important that we make it so that there is some real lasting improvement, real lasting change. So a leader will know that he or she, himself or herself, they need to practice healthy daily habits to stay well physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So this world is a dangerous place. It is said sometimes that there is danger at every step that we take, and this is not just on a physical level, but also on an emotional and spiritual level. If we are complacent and we don't know what the goal of this human existence is, then it is so easy to become sidetracked and lost on this journey. So a real leader is actually a guide to others because he has learned real wisdom from a real leader um, himself or herself. So now we have a question here from our chat. What are some daily habits, routines in order to keep ourselves sane and be of help to those who are suffering from mental concerns? Oh, that's a big question. So thank you for asking that. And there are many things that we can do with the prevention of mental concerns, and they can also be of help to those who might have some mental concerns already. So let's try to break up some tips, some things that we have found helpful into three areas, although they are often interconnected. Yeah, so we already said it's physical, emotional, and spiritual. So the physical well-being. So it's actually really important that we remember this, because especially in recent times, yeah, it's often become difficult for people to get enough exercise, fresh air, and sunshine. This is really, really good for supporting the health of the body. Spending time in nature can be very healing, very soothing. It calms down The mind, everything gets recharged. We become more relaxed. Yeah, we might have some insights. So getting enough exercise, getting enough oxygen actually wakes up the body. It gets the oxygen circulating better. Yeah, this is why we experience a rush sometimes when we are exercising. Yeah, because oh, everything is now moving much better. Yeah, so and exercise actually also has a very good effect on the mind. It calms down the mind, which is often stuck thinking about all the negatives, all the painful things, worrying all the time, because when, let's say, a person is running or swimming, the mind is just basically participating, is focusing on that. You will notice that actually the mind stops thinking about all the other stuff that you were thinking before when you're exercising. So it's very, very helpful. Another thing is that we should try to sleep not too much or too little, the right amount. For most people, 7 hours more or less is pretty good. It's good. It's helpful to go to bed early enough, definitely not later than 11 p.m. Getting up early in the morning is good. You can have the fresh air. The sunlight early in the morning is very nice. You won't get a sunburn from that. So another good and important part of taking care of our bodies is to eat fresh and healthy foods. Yes. So basically, lots of vegetables, fruits, grains, and so forth. It's very good to drink a lot of fresh water. Herbal teas, fresh juices are also good. I would actually not recommend um, too much caffeine. Also, avoiding drugs and alcohol is really, really important if you want to have a sane, calm mind and a healthy body. So, emotion, there's a lot more what could be said, but we don't have all the time in the world, of course. And if you want, you can send us a message. We have a lot more we can share with you. So, emotional well being is also really, really important. So, so the person wants to be a force for good. Then we can also try to encourage others, to become an agent for a better world. Yeah. So there's a famous saying by Mahatma Gandhi: "Be the change you want to see in the world." And this is absolutely correct. Yeah, because so many times we're always focusing on trying to change everybody else, and if everybody else just was as perfect as I am, the world would be perfect, right? But of course, it's an illusion. Everybody thinks that way, and nobody is actually really perfect. But it's okay. We're still of great worth. We don't have to worry about that. We actually don't have to be perfect in order to be valuable. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. So but the main thing really is that we try to become a better person. We try to grow. We try to, even if the improvements are very small and not very noticeable yet, it's important to always continue. Yeah, take one little baby step at a time if change is difficult for us, and for many of us it is. So, like we said before, it's very helpful to not think about myself all the time, right? So that we actually consider the well-being of others. We should try to be kind, try to do something every day to at least one other living being, so we get out of this self-centered box here, which is often causing us so many problems to begin with. Yeah, because we want to be loved, of course, but and everybody else does. But who is willing to take the first step? Yeah, because we know we can be vulnerable, we can be hurt when we love. But if we're just doing something kind, some selfless act without expecting anything in return, that is a small step towards having these caring and more loving relationships. And you will find actually others will be very, very happy that you're going out of your way to try to do something nice for somebody else. So if a person is already very depressed, you may wonder, okay, what can we do for such a person? They have no motivation, they hardly getting out of bed, they're not doing anything that they used to do anymore. So then what can we do to try to give them some type of motivation, something inspiring. And so if the situation is really bad already and they don't want to interact with humans anymore, they don't want to see their friends, you know what you can try to do? You can try to give them like a little puppy dog or a little baby cat so they can interact with another living entity. They might actually find, oh, what is this? You know, it helps them to stop thinking about themselves all the time. You know, usually you can watch it, of course, be careful, because sometimes people, you know, they might not respond in such a favorable way. But most of the time, you will find they will be showing some interest in this other little life form there. So when we are trying to help others, we want to help others. We, of course, we have to be very patient, very encouraging, and always remind them, you know, there is actually a way out of the current situation. There is there is real light, there is real love, even though you might just be experiencing darkness all around you right now. That is not what um, your it's not what real the reality is. So this will not last. So so we need to try to focus our mind on the solutions. Yeah, we need to stop being so focused on all the problems and think like there are no problems. You know, so we can just try to light a small candle that is much better than cursing the darkness all day long. And connected to this, actually, it's so important. We actually need to have realistic expectations, what to expect in this material world. Yeah, that we cannot find everything that we're longing for. Yeah, we might be feeling like, oh, I want to have perfect love, perfect happiness, perfect shelter, perfect everything. Yeah, we're longing for. We're looking for perfection, actually, because this is what we're used to. In the spiritual dimension, everything is perfect. This is our real home. Yeah, the spiritual world. But here, it's like I've taken a vacation to a not so nice place. Yeah, so this material world is actually not a paradise. It has some nice things, it has some happiness, but it has a lot of distress, a lot of problems that are built into it on purpose, um, for educational purposes, so that we actually begin to inquire again: why am I suffering? What am I doing here? Why is there so much craziness in the world here? And so basically, we should just treat it like we're temporarily here on a mission to try to help others, not for my personal enjoyment, but rather just to try to be of service to others. And this vacation, this trip, it will come to an end at some point. But whatever we focus on now, what we are become attached to, what we are desiring for our future, that will become our future. Yes, so it's really, really important that we make the right choices. Because if we remain stubborn and we insist that I want to become happy and live here eternally in this material dimension, even though it's not possible, I want to be happy, you know, live happily ever after here with some material person, it will not work. Everything that has a beginning will have an end. Yes, so we're looking in the wrong place. This exists in the spiritual dimension, no doubt. You know, so but we need to develop spiritual consciousness again, so we can actually return to our true spiritual nature. So, and so that is why we will be talking about spiritual well-being next. There's a question in the chat here, so we will just address it real quick. Why is suicide considered one of the most selfish acts? Now, there are a number of reasons for that. One of them, we don't consider how other people will be feeling who really care about us. Yeah, friends, family. It is said that for everybody who actually is successful in destroying their body, up to 50 people usually experience sadness, great pain. This is really what we want others to experience. So that is That is one of the reasons we don't consider how others will feel after we have left. Yeah, we're basically so overwhelmed just by our feelings, our emotions. And another thing is that basically all we are thinking about is I, me, mine. I want to become, I don't want to suffer anymore. I want to be happy. Damn it, I'm going to end the suffering. I'm not going to look for any help. We're not looking for advice, so we're just, I'm going to do this myself. It's just like, I'm just going to stop existing, basically. The idea is that if I'm this body, then I can stop existing, right? Because the body will come to an end. And this is the whole problem when we don't have that ancient wisdom that we are actually eternal living beings. We can never stop existing. We can finish the existence of this body, but we will continue to exist. And a person who destroys this human body, let's say they were still meant to be living for another 30 years, they will actually continue to exist in a ghost-like condition for those 30 years that they were still meant to be having that human body. And in a ghost-like condition, if you thought you had problems before, your problems will be much bigger, because now you don't have the facility to act out and try to fulfill your desires. You cannot eat that mango anymore. You cannot drink that orange juice anymore. You don't have these senses. And so it's not a happy condition. So suicide only makes things worse. It never solves anything. And this is why it's so important that when a person even has a suicidal thought, or they're becoming really depressed, that they focus, they need to be help. They need help. They need to come in contact with a solution, so that there is a way out of this. You're not stuck here. And what you're thinking might be a solution, it only makes things worse. So it's so important that we always notice how others are doing, who we care about, that if they're becoming less social, they don't do those things that they used to like anymore, and they're withdrawing, basically, they're becoming more introverted, maybe more depressed, then that, okay, there is problems here. I need to be very kind, supportive, caring, and try to bring some light, some wisdom into their existence. So, which brings us to our the third tips here, how we can try to help others. And this is our spiritual well-being. We've talked about physical and our emotional well-being. And so spiritual well-being is actually really, really, really important, because like we said, we are actually eternal spiritual beings, and we need to be in harmony with who we really are. We need to be in harmony with reality, that we exist eternally. So we need to find out what is our real purpose, what will give me that happiness, that joy, that carefreeness that I'm always looking for, them longing for. I don't to be depressed, worried, and anxiety, to have suicidal thoughts. This is not normal. This is not what we should be experiencing. But when we become overwhelmed with this, all the darkness in this material dimension, then of course it can cover us very easily. And some people might feel like, it's like, oh, it's just part of life here, to sometimes be anxious, worried, to be depressed sometimes, and to maybe even have a suicidal thought, But actually, all it is people want to have a way out. They want to change their experience of reality, but they don't know how. And the good news is, with mindfulness, the practice of mindfulness and mantra meditation, we will actually begin to develop a completely different perspective on our existence, on the existence of others, while we're here in this world. It's like somebody is gradually turning on the light in a dark room, and then you can see everything that is there. That's what it's like when you're beginning to walk this path of self-realization, when you're practicing mantra meditation. Mantra meditation is so powerful. It is very easy in one way, but it's also the most effective type of meditation, because this word mantra, these two syllables, man means mind, and tra means to draw away the mind from all the concerns, worries, problems of this material dimension, all these material thoughts, and place it onto this spiritual sound. And then the mind becomes calm, pacified, purified. It actually, now I can more easily control it. Before, it's jumping all over the place. It's driving me nuts, right? So it's easy that we practice this ourselves, but then how can we share this, especially with those who are not very receptive here? And this is what most of the experiences you will have is people are usually not very interested in the beginning. They're not very open-minded. They don't want to practice it every day, maybe. And so we have to be creative and try to find ways to benefit them, even though if they're just passively exposed and they're not practicing it themselves yet. So one way to do this is if we are playing some very healing and beautiful and uplifting spiritual sound, mantra meditation music, just like what we were doing earlier, in the background, and so that others can hear it. So maybe the person who you're concerned about is in another room. They don't come out of their room. And if we went in the room and tried to turn the music on, oh no, they would be feeling intruded or something. So you have to do it in a way that is very gentle and caring. Do it somewhere in the next room and make the volume just right so that they can hear it quietly in the background. Maybe not all the time, maybe there's some other noises, that's okay. Don't make it like this dominant thing 24 hours a day, and then people will just be feeling like, you're trying to, overwhelm them or something, But rather just do it slowly and gently, maybe just an hour a day in the beginning, and if there is no response, maybe try to do it a little bit longer and see, and maybe at some point you can make some comments like, oh wow, this is, do you like this nice peaceful sound in the background? And maybe they weren't aware of it, but still, even if they're not aware of it, if their ears can hear it, there's a purifying effect on the heart and the mind. So it actually gives the listener many benefits, actually, peacefulness, but it actually gives a person real happiness over time. You might not experience this in the beginning, but gradually there will be more and more benefits. And so another thing that we should all practice, actually, this is really, really important, is that we become thankful, appreciative for what we have right now. Usually, we do just the opposite. We are complaining about the things that we don't have, or we're complaining about the things that we do have but are not perfect. And we always wish that things would be better, right? So we already said before, this is actually not, the reason why it is so common with many living beings is because from our very core, the core of our being, there come these spiritual needs, really. And that is that we have perfect love, perfect happiness, because this is what everybody experiences in the spiritual world. And so this is really why we sometimes, get so irritated, or we just look at all the imperfections and faults in this world and we try to make it better and so forth. And, and so it's okay to try to make things better to a degree when it is actually possible, but don't try to make everything perfect. It will not work, so So, so we need to appreciate what we have that is actually helping us in any way, our friends, our family, all the nice things that have been provided to us. We should be appreciative. And we should also appreciate that many other living beings in this world have a harder time, than me and maybe you. Maybe not it's different for everybody, but there are a lot of people who are suffering so much. Some people don't even have the ability to watch programs like this, to get some help. So this is really important that we appreciate what we have, that we make wise choices, what we focus on, what we actually consume with our mind. Yeah, that we are very careful. Who do we listen to? Who do we trust? Who do we follow? Who has our well-being at heart and who does not? Who's just trying to exploit us? Who just wants to get our money, wants to have us as their follower or whatever, So we need to be intelligent and ask these questions and not assume that everybody has good intentions and is acting on them. Unfortunately, that is not the case in this world. We have seen it so many times where people are choosing profits over people, profits over relationships. Yeah. So it's very sad when that happens. So we need to be wise. Yeah, we need to know that this longing to actually want to trust others, to have nice, friendly relationships with everybody, this is good. But this needs to be directed towards those living beings in the spiritual dimension and those who are uh, on the spiritual path, who are actually already manifesting those divine qualities of compassion, selflessness, tolerance, um, caring, sharing, and so forth and so on. Yeah. So the more a person is already developed on the spiritual path, the more trustworthy they become. The more we can trust them. But if a person is very self-centered and greedy and they want to accumulate as much as possible just for themselves and they don't even consider the effects of their actions on others, why would you want to trust somebody like that? You're just going to be victimized. I'm sorry to say it, but that's the reality. So we need to be making better choices if we want to have a better future. So the choice to try to end things by trying to kill this body, it will never work, as we said, yeah? Because we are eternal spiritual beings. We are not this temporary material body. So trying to kill the body does not solve any problem. It only makes things much, much worse. So it's actually our natural condition to be happy eternally in in spiritual relationships, experience spiritual love. So this is the highest happiness. The highest goal is actually to go back to this natural spiritual condition, who we really are. And as a true leader, if you want to be a real leader, then our goal on this journey is, of course, to experience this ourselves and also to try to make it possible, to try to help others to also experience their eternality, their blissfulness, for them to have spiritual wisdom, who they really are. So that is really the highest purpose of this human journey. And so this, you don't have to blindly believe anything that we're saying here, but I request that you consider it. And you might find out through introspection, through personal experience, that there is a lot more than what you thought possible. There's a lot more than what we hear in mainstream society. And this is why we are offering these programs, so that those who are interested in solving the problems of this world they actually will have the tools, the ability to transform their existence. If you're satisfied with what you have right now, if you're happy, perfectly happy, and you're not ever worried or afraid of your future, great, good. But I can assure you, sooner or later, this ancient wisdom will come to be of great benefit to you because it applies to all living beings. It's eternal wisdom. So now let's have a few more minutes of music mantra meditation. You can just relax, and if you like to sing along, of course, you can also do this. Thank you very much, everybody. I wish you all the best, and please try to practice this mindfulness and mantra meditation, this Guranga, deep breathing, and also this music meditation. It's very nice in the mornings and at night before going to sleep, but really any time of the day it's of very good benefit. And the more you practice it, the more you benefits you will have. So, but it needs to be experienced by everybody individually. So we hope this was of some interest and some benefit, and look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday, same place, same time. Namaste.